Hello, and welcome to this HelloID provisioning product release video for May 2023. HelloID provisioning is a 100% born in the cloud, easy to configure and maintain user provisioning solution. It helps organizations to fully automate the user lifecycle management in the network by connecting the HR or SIS as a source system. Every change in this source is detected and processed into the network. No more worries about stale user accounts, accumulation of licenses or access rights, manual user management, or compliancy issues. Please note that in this video, we will only show the new functionality for the May 2023 release. Please go to docs.helloid.com or our YouTube channel for more videos. Let's get started. In this video, we'd like to start with a PowerPoint presentation and then demo the new functionalities for the May 2023 release. We have one new item in this release: support person account variables on all notification events. Previously, you needed to configure a dependent system, so this system could be used when a notification was sent. With this feature, all data that is stored on the person can be used, including the person accounts that aren't configured as the dependent on this system. Let's start our short demo of this new feature. Support person account variables on all notification events. For this, we have to go to the configuration of our target system, and for this case, we have prepared a Google Workspace. Underneath the Account tab, we can see that the Google Workspace is dependent on the Azure AD, which is another connector we already had in place. This configuration works in the same way as before. You can choose and add a system from the drop-down list. There's a minor change here because in this new functionality, we can no longer change the reference key of a system. This could be changed in the previous version of the older PowerShell connectors, but in this new one, it's always being generated, and because of this, it can be used inside a notification. This is also configured in the field configuration, so if we navigate to our title and change this to a complex mapping, once we go in here and open up a default template value, we can basically use the account reference data by accessing the Active Directory of the Azure AD reference. So return person.accounts.azuread. In this case, we are configuring the title so we can configure it directly by using the Azure AD key. It's also good to mention that the functionality for autocomplete will be supported by the PowerShell v2 connector very soon. So, how does this work in a notification? Well, if we go to the configuration of a notification, you will see that this is basically the same screen. And in this case, we selected an event of the Google Workspace connector, and in this we have some dependent or other account data. So these are the sections that have been introduced in this release. There is a difference between the dependent system data and the other account data, or to give it a tag, the non-dependent system data, which is basically related to the definition of how a process gets executed. So if we go to the information icon, a little message will show up, and it will indicate that for the up-to-date account data, we can guarantee the data of the account for the person is up to date because it's embedded inside the process sequence, so we know all processes will get executed in the correct order and the account of the dependent system will be updated before we trigger our own event. For other account data, it couldn't be, so it might be that this is outdated data. Because it's non-dependent, we're not sure if it's already been updated in a previous process, or basically if the account data has already been granted, because it's the person reference data of accounts, so it could be somebody who has an account, and maybe it's not granted yet because of a business rule condition. So in this case, we don't guarantee for the other account data that it will always be up to date. It's also good to mention that the same way you use account data will also be working for a manager reference account as well. One remark on this is that a reference manager's data will always be scoped under the other account data, which would not be up to date yet. So that's a small remark on the manager reference, but it could be used in the same way. So all data will be available on the person model. Let's show you how this works in the body of the message. We go to the configuration of this message, and you can see a little example has already been prepared for the notification data as data.title. And this is up to date because it's coming from one of the mapped fields configured to be used in notification. In this case, this will always be defined with a proper source value. We have the account data, of course, and account data from persons.accounts. In this case, the Google Workspace.title could possibly be outdated. We're not sure because where the Google Workspace user gets updated in the process related to another account, and because this is the main account, you might think this has already been updated. The used account data for a system is the dependency, so this is the dependent system, and we can guarantee that this has already been updated. The person.account.AzureAD is a dependent system and will always have an up-to-date property title to be updated by this event. If you would like to use the account data, but you cannot guarantee that it's available yet, you can also introduce a fallback scenario because this attribute title is the same value as data.title. So you can also replace this with a fallback scenario if this could not be resolved. So in case of a create, it could be empty in case the Active Directory user is not granted yet. You can use the fallback scenario in case of an update. It will be a different story. The other systems might also be outdated, and in this case, it's our oldest systems which were configured in the column we showed before. And in there, you can see all the reference data, which will be available on the person model, but we could not guarantee that it has already been updated to the correct values. Thank you so much for watching. Please let us know if you have any additional questions. You can post your question in YouTube or send it to iSupport@toolsforever.com. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel to receive frequent updates about improvements and changes in HelloID. Have a wonderful day.